And we're back for another episode of St James's Pod, back after the international break. Here before the Brighton game, home to Brighton this weekend. I'm here with Alex. First things first. There he is. Not seen you for ages.
Hello, wie heißt du? I think that means where do you live, actually. So, yeah, I'm sound. I'm fucking sick of it. International football, to be honest. Obviously, England
So
weren't
boring.
great. But I don't even go out my way to watch them. I think I caught the second half of the Greece game, and that's just because I remembered halfway through, like, oh, game's on. Like, I'll chuck it on for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Like, they are glorified
Just
friendlies,
background.
let's be honest. Aye, but I wouldn't go out my way to watch them. And it's just like they're so frequent now. There's another one coming next month. You just can't like get a run of games going almost. Like, I almost can't wait till like the hectic Christmas schedule
Yeah.
because we'll get like a decent run of Premier League games for the first time this season. So yeah,
There was
looking forward to
some
Saturday.
there was some fixtures change, wasn't there, in the Christmas run up? I think was Liverpool the main one, I think.
Yeah, props to the Premier League because they said that they were going to give people more than I think 6 weeks notice or whatever, which they've said they were going to do before. This season they're actually sticking to it, so they're giving quite a bit of notice for the televised games. So you're talking December and January. The games are all out, and to be fair, it's not too bad for the people who haven't got Fire Sticks, or fans, because I think there's a few 3 o'clock kickoffs. There's not been that many changes. I think there's like an early kickoff. There's a stinking early kickoff to Bournemouth on a Saturday after playing the Wednesday prior. Like that's a bit of a stinker. It'll be a stinker for the away fans to get up from Bournemouth as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Monday night after Boxing Day, Man U under the lights at Old Trafford.
Yeah, that'll be a good one, like.
Yeah, we'll be up for that. Like,
Well, talking about international football, I guess we should mention our players. Bruno back in the starting 11 for Brazil. Miggy. Probably the main one is the Greek keeper.
what's he called?
Flakadimos. That's
Decent.
That's my best. Yeah, you were just saying that they went on to win the next game as well.
I saw obviously beating England 2-1 at Wembley. It's ridiculous for. I mean, I want to say like a country like Greece, but they won the Euros like not too long ago, so I can't really belittle them and say they're like a little team or whatever. But it obviously was a ridiculously good result considering the names that we've got on that pitch. And then, but to be fair, they then went and beat Ireland 2-0, which they've done home and away in this round of group games in the, I was going to call it the Conference League, the Nations League. They're all shite anyways. But yeah, Greece topping the table, 4 wins out of 4, including at Wembley, so fair play to them. And I do think Odysseus should have done better for Bellingham's goal, but you cannot really knock him, like, just conceding one, so fair play to him. I think, do you reckon he's now second in the pecking order over Dubs?
I actually don't think he is. I think Eddie Howe still thinks it does, but you were obviously just saying before that you think he's better than Pope.
I mean, there's exaggerating and there's fabricating. Like, I think you just pulled that one out of the land down under there.
I think I'd like to see him as second choice.
To
be honest, I'd like to see Dubs get a move on. I'm not really sure why he hasn't yet, but from what I've seen of him, he looks like he's more suited to our type of football as well. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. Maybe if we can get rid of Dubs in January, but it might just be one of them that Eddie Howe, like, he does take his time with players, don't he?
Yeah,
so maybe he'll
like,
bet him in.
Seen him in that second half against Wimbledon, but he didn't have to do anything. I think
that was the injury as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was through. His stuff's coming off at half time. It was.
Yeah.
He came up and claimed one ball, but apart from that, I don't think Wimbledon had a shot until the 95th minute, and that was off target. So, yeah, he looked all right with his feet, though. Like, he looked better than Pope with his feet. Not that should be a barometer for how good a
Measured
keeper
stick,
is.
alright.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, wouldn't mind seeing him a little bit more. Preferably keep hoping though.
yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him in the next round instead of Dubs.
Against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, oh yeah, if it was over Dubs, yeah, but I think he's going to go pretty strong. To be fair, I could see him. I think Pope will start for, anyways. I mean,
True.
obviously that's. I think it's a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I think it's. Is it next 2 weeks? 2 weeks today.
Looking at the fixture list, we've got obviously Brighton, and then it's the Chelsea game. So, yeah, is that 2 weeks or 10 days?
So we've got them. We've got them in a week on Sunday in the league away, and then the following Wednesday, that's the cup game. So 2 weeks today is the fourth round of the cup. And to be fair, like I want to go all out. Like I think Spurs against City is another one of the ties in the fourth round. So if we can get through to the next round, one of them's gone, Chelsea's gone. Like you're starting to get a bit closer. Like I'm just desperate for any trophy. Like this season, obviously with having no European football, we won't be pushing for those Champions League spots, whether that's top 4 or 5. But I'd happily rest players in that Chelsea game in the league to then go full strength in the cup.
Yeah, I think I agree, because like a cup run, when you've got no European football, it does make the season way more exciting. Even if we are pushing for Champions League spots in the league, you can't beat a cup run. So, but I don't know, like, do you think Eddie Howe realistically is going to do that?
You never know. He has said that he does want to win a cup and he wants to go strong in the cups though. And he doesn't usually rotate that much, does he?
We've got Arsenal the game after that though.
Some week that.
So, I know. So I can imagine the cup game being the one where he rotates a bit. But anyway, speaking of Chelsea, ex-manager Thomas Tuchel. At least that's put the rumours for Eddie Howe to bed. Do you think that'll make any difference to us? Like, realistically, do you think the players or even Eddie himself have been like distracted at all by that noise from the media? Or do you think it is just literally just bullshit in the media that they don't even listen to?
It's got to like come through like somewhere. Like Eddie Howe's answered questions about it in the media. I think it's been quite clear that the FA did have him on their shortlist. I think it was like Potter and Pep as a sort of dream shout. But yeah, it has to have an effect. Like, do you not think Eddie Howe's head might get turned just a slightest bit thinking England manager? It's got to, like, even though he said like he's going to stick with the project, unfinished business, wants to win a cup, wants to take us as high as possible, etc. England's manager, it's got to make you think. Like, yeah, I think I'll be disappointed if it didn't sort of excite him a little bit, and I would like to see it in the future, just not just yet.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like, I guess for the players, like that sort of noise, you might start to think, oh, what will I do if Howe does leave for England or whatever. But having said that, what do you think England's turnaround might be under Tuchel, just to divert from Newcastle for a little bit?
Wait,
good appointment.
I know, like, there's all this sort of uproar. I think it's more media created uproar. I think it's more the Daily Mail and the Mirror writing outlandish headlines as opposed to people being pissed off. Like, so you've seen a few. I don't know how to describe them nicely. A few English men talking on Sky Sports. You've got Harry Redknapp, who obviously he's England through and through. He's very, you could call him old school in terms of his coaching.
Politically correct way of saying it.
Yeah. But you've got him complaining and saying, like, you must have an English manager for the England setup. You got Dean Ashton coming on, who had one appearance for the England team, like, saying how disgraceful it is. But not one of them have actually suggested an English manager who they'd want in instead of Tuchel. There's a reason why they haven't. It's because they can't name one manager who's English, who's better than Tuchel right now. Like, the only one who had a want in is Howe, and I don't want Howe to go. So, like, and I mean, I don't think it's outlandish to say that Howe isn't on Tuchel's level yet either. Tuchel's won leagues, he's won Champions League, obviously. Like, he's managed top players at the top level. So,
and like multiple big clubs as well, not just
So obviously Chelsea, PSG, Bayern. Yeah, it might not have worked out at Bayern. How many goals did Harry Kane score under Tuchel at Bayern? The most he's ever scored per game for anyone. It's like 44 goals in 45 games. And people are saying, "Oh, do you think he's the right person to get the best out of Kane because they didn't win the Bundesliga last season?" Like, a load of shite. I think it's a great appointment, Mike. And like, I think tactically, like, you've seen what he's done in the Champions League. He doesn't get many games with a team, so he needs to make them count. And he got airdropped into Chelsea. They'd already got through the group, which it was a poor group anyways. You're trying to say Tuchel wouldn't have got through the same group that Frank Lampard did. There's a lot of shite, which I think I've heard. I can't remember who said it. Might be Dean Ashton again. I can't remember. But then you beat like the likes of Porto, Real, obviously City in the final. Like, these are big games. Like, Eddie doesn't have quite that big game experience. Obviously, we've had like a little drop of it at the Carabao Cup final. Had the PSG game, obviously Dortmund and Milan as well. But didn't fare great in those games. With the exception of obviously that home PSG tie.
Yeah.
So, like, personally, I think it's a great appointment to round it up. I like it. I couldn't give a fuck that he's not English. He's the best candidate that there is. And that's it for me.
Yeah, but were you saying, like, as well before, Pep kind of like in this dream scenario, I wonder if the same people would be complaining that he's not English if it was Pep. But
I've saw this headline from, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and it was a journalist saying, like, yeah, like, the dream appointment, like, it would be perfect if, like, the FA could get him at the end of the season when his contract's out with Man City. And then the same journalist from the same newspaper has put an article out today saying how disgusting it is that Tuchel's like manager, he should be English and stuff like that. It's just like, fuck off, like
yeah.
Course,
I think it's it.
Like, I actually think what you're saying is correct, though. I think even if Pep did, like, it was the perfect appointment, did take the England job, there'd still be the tabloids writing, well, he's not English. So you cannot win.
You know, as soon as he lost the game as well, that would be straight in there.
Too right.
But, yeah, I actually think it's a great appointment. Like, I'm surprised, actually, England have managed to get him. I'd be very, very shocked if he doesn't do better than Southgate.
You'd be very shocked if he doesn't do better than Southgate. Can we clip that up? Because to do better than Southgate, you've got to win. You've got to win the World Cup or the Euros. It's true, isn't it?
Depends on your definition of better. I'm talking about, like, performance-wise. Getting the most out of the talent that we have. But yeah, I guess you're right. Like,
what do you want to see us like slapping teams? Do you want to see us like comfortably, like, sort of playing well against like the bigger nations and stuff like that? Is that what you mean? I'm guessing, not just
and like
the results.
What's his face? That's just been temporary. Carsdale,
like
Carsley. He was trying like new stuff, like different stuff, and he was getting a lot of stick for it. But I think after like this Southgate football for so long, even though like it didn't work, it was good to see them try something a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we get a chance to do that as well under Tuchel before any of the like tournament football without like not qualifying.
That's the thing.
So,
I don't think he takes his first game till March. So, I mean, it's still a year to go to the World Cup, but if you think about how many training camps he'll get with a squad, probably 3 or 4. It's not a lot of time to get his points across, get his training across, what he wants to do. You think if you have these 6 games, in the Nations League from the summer, you would have a bit more time just to bed them in a bit. Not that, we should have went straight in after Southgate went and tried to get him. But, I don't know.
I guess that's international football, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to get used to it. Right then, back to Newcastle United. Got Brighton at the weekend.
Cannot wait.
I think for the fans, obviously, home to Brighton, I don't know if you agree, but I think that's a fixture that kind of jumps out to me when you get the fixture at the start of the season. Because they play good football, but we've also got a good chance of winning the game. So, do you think their results so far this season suggest that that's still true this season? Because they've been scoring a lot of goals in the last few games, but they have been leaking goals. But I mean, they're on the same point as us, so...
Yeah, that's the thing. They've scored, 5 goals more than we've conceded 3 more. They're an exciting team. They've got European football, and they're rotating, a lot in between that. You've seen, obviously, we'll get on to the ex-Newcastle player in a bit. But even, was it 2-0 down to Spurs before the international break? Came back 1-3-2.
Yeah, they scored 3 in 20 minutes.
Yeah, and obviously a new boss has come in, and everyone is wondering how he's going to follow on from De Zerbi. And it's Brighton are so good at getting these managers in who they get them in knowing that they're going to fit into the club style of football almost. Bringing the youngsters through, doesn't mind starting 18, 19-year-olds, on the regular. He's Welbeck's on fucking fire, and I thought he was finished years ago. They are playing some good stuff, and
I got him in the draft as well.
Oh, how you manage that one? Where are you in the draft?
I'm not last.
Oh, that's all right then. I think I went top before the international break. But you're saying you look at the fixture at home to Brighton and thinking there's a good chance of getting points. I look at Brighton. Well, for starters, the away game, I think absolutely no chance. We'll go down there and get played off the park every time.
Yeah.
But we have had some joy at home in the last couple of seasons, so I do know what you're getting at. But that's Eddie Howe's Newcastle, isn't it? Different team, home and away, and I think we've got a chance. We've got every chance against any team, to be fair, haven't we? That's in James's Park. So
yeah,
I'd definitely be going into the game optimistic, and if we can get a striker back from injury, touch wood, that would be a nice start, because I know going back to the Everton game, we played quite well, and we didn't have a striker. Obviously, played Gordon through the middle, but no cutting edge. So
yeah,
even Wilson in that team
as well.
Aye, which you shouldn't have took. I know it's easy to say in hindsight, of course it is, but with the pressure of his old club away from home, the pelters he was getting all game against Pickford, who he takes penalties against for England in training. Just all of that. Just give it to the fucking centre half. Give it to Shaw. Let him just. He takes penalties. He took one. It was against Wimbledon, wasn't it?
Wimbledon, yeah. I didn't think it was the best penalty though.
It wasn't, but neither was Gordon against Everton. To be fair, exactly. It was probably the same kind of pen. It was it was sort of low to the right, quite easy for the keeper to save if he went the right way. But unfortunately, the Wimbledon keeper went the wrong way. Unfortunately, Pickford had a very easy save to make.
Yeah, and maybe we should have took some of the other chances. Really,
that's it as well. We did have other chances.
Yeah, and then that miss wouldn't be so bad, and you'd be maybe if that was the case, you'd be oh well, good on him for stepping up and taking it. But yeah, I mean, hopefully one of them two's back because we need a proper striker, in my opinion. I mean, I think I don't mind Gordon up front, but I don't think he can be our starting striker. So we're missing too much, I think, on the wing, especially on the left. But realistically, I've got a bad feeling that although Eddie said they'd be back after the break, I'm not sure either is going to be ready to start. I've just got a bad feeling. So.
I mean, going from not playing at all in the game before the break to starting 2 weeks later, yeah, it's a bit of a stretch. Like, obviously, we don't have a fucking clue how Wilson's been progressing because he's been out since pre-season. So it could have been that he was close to returning before the international break, and we just decided to give him that extra 2 weeks rest to get to like full fitness almost. With Isak,
Can't see him starting though, can you?
Wait, obviously
after that long out,
physical fitness and match fitness are both going to be on its arse. Let's be honest. Like he's lost that yard of pace, I reckon, over the last season or two with all these injuries. He doesn't look as sharp when he's on. But just having that focal point, like even, do you know how often, like when players come back, like you'll give them the last like half an hour, like whatever, 35 minutes. I'd almost be tempted to start him and take him off at half time, like try and come out the blocks a bit quicker, try and get 1 or 2 goals ahead, which I'm sure that happened against Brighton last season, where was it 2-1 up, 2-0 up, and we went 2-1 or something like that, and started to come back, and we're held out for the 2-1 win. It rings a bell somewhere or another. But if we can do that, start Wilson. If we don't have Isak back, I'd prefer that than, as you're saying, taking Gordon out of his best position.
Yeah,
and having that focal point, because you've got players like Murphy, who, yes, like he can be up and down in his performances, but he can whip a ball across that 6-yard box. And the amount of times he does that, and there's fucking nobody there. Like, all you need is like an Isak there just to tap it in from a couple of yards out. And with Gordon, he's not that out and out number 9. Yeah, as you said, I don't mind him filling in. I don't mind him starting there the odd game, but more than that, shouldn't be there.
Isak's injury, it being like from what Eddie Howe was saying, he's like, oh, it's a broken toe, but it's not broken in a way that stops him playing, because then he played the next game with injections in it. And at the time, I was like thinking, surely this new performance coach that's come in isn't letting them still letting them play players with injections to get through. And
I mean, all clubs play players with injections, but you'd hope it's not like Botman levels of ACL injury playing with injections. Like, if he's broke his big toe, like, and he's putting pressure on it, and he has to put pressure on it to walk, then you should have probably a bit more time out. If he's broke his middle toe, it's probably not that much of a problem in the grand scheme of things.
I've got to assume it is something like that, because the way he was, like, Eddie was almost brushing it off. Like,
yeah,
I thought the subtext was kind of like, "Oh, man, fucking, it's only a broken toe, mate.
Well, it's my big toe."
But then he was out for 2 games, I think. So
he missed the cup game, and then obviously Everton game, yeah.
Everton, yeah. So if it is that, I think maybe somebody stepped in and was like, "No, we've got to rest him now." He tried to play him through it; it didn't work, because he came off in the game before, didn't he? Like, I'm sure it was half time. So if that is the case, he's probably got to get the green light from the medical team. So,
but you think 3 weeks on from there, 3 weeks out for a toe break, like, it seems a lot. Obviously, broken bones don't heal in 3 weeks, but I don't know.
You can't have been training either, can you, really?
No. Well, you'll just have to keep off it as much as possible, I guess. But like, that's the thing. So there's been training photos put up on social media today. I can't remember seeing them in them, to be honest.
No, but then again, if I was taking them out, I'd be keeping them out of the photos as well.
Actually, that's a good point. Eddie Howe's a piece of shit when it comes to letting the media know about injuries and that.
I seen Louis Miley back though.
I got to see him back on the grass, back in training, by full training by the looks of it, kicking a ball from the images on Twitter. So, you know what? Like, obviously he was thrust in last season when we didn't have a choice. It'd be nice to actually bring him on in some games.
Yeah.
Where he's not relied upon to, like, you have to, like, come on and make a difference. Like, just play some football when there's a bit less pressure. Yeah, that's the one. And he's old enough to buy a pint now, is he? 18 now? So it's fucking depressing, isn't it? But the lad's back from internationals. So
you mentioned Minty before as well for Brighton. Obviously, another young talent we had seems to be doing well, which, you know, good on him, but it is a bit annoying.
The frustrating thing is that I think he was Brighton's record signing before they got Rutter in. If Brighton are spending that much on a player, they don't tend to get things wrong. So them paying that much for Minty, like, it's just, it hurts because it's a position of need for us. Like, we could, if it wasn't for FFP, PSR, whatever, we'd be looking to spend that amount of money on a right winger. So the fact that they've got that right winger for 33 million, 20 years old, like, I think he's got a goal and 2 assists in his first, 5-6 games? And he hasn't even started every game either. It's frustrating, like, it is frustrating. Like, at this point, I know fans have, like, joked about it, but do you just keep the player and take the points hit? Like, do you, at the start of the season, we're going to fail PSR, do you just go like 20 million over like Everton did and just say, fuck it, I'll take like 4 points hit or something like that? It's a weird one because I think potentially having him in our side over Miggy, Murphy, etc. could be well worth the 4 points at the end of the season.
It could be, yeah. But I think because there's not set rules about you get this many points deducted for this much over and stuff like that, it's a risk because I think with it being us as well, there's every chance to try and slap us with more. And it's just bad media as well, isn't it? It's like, it's like told you.
Yeah. Like, the Saudis have been really conscious to, like, toe the line. Like, all these rules have been brought in for Newcastle United since the takeover, and they're trying the best. Well, they have done the best. They haven't broken any rules so far, as far as we know.
I think it's the frustrating part for me is what you say, with it being a position of need as well. It's like it's like with Anderson, it's like that one's frustrating because he's a local lad.
Yep.
But in his position, like we're pretty much all right. So positionally, it's not as frustrating. But well, I guess there's not many other. Only really like left wing or something. If Minty'd been left wing, you'd be like, oh well, it's a shame.
Yeah, it's exactly what we need him.
Hopefully, he doesn't come back to bite us in this game.
Speaking of Anderson, I'm sure he won the man of the match for the under-21s in the break as well. So not only is he getting Player of the Month for Forest, he's now picking up awards for the under-21s. Obviously, there was that going on with him not long ago about him declaring for Scotland, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And he sort of snubbed them. I was curious to see how that develops.
I think there was rumours of Southgate telling them stick with it kind of thing. But
yeah, which is
I'm
strange.
not surprised. I mean, he's a quality player. You've seen it. It's just... I think realistically, he was going to struggle to get in our team consistently. Yeah.
No, I think it was the right move for him because he's starting for Forest as well. Like, he wouldn't have been starting for us this season.
Yeah. So it's bittersweet, that one, but yeah, the Minty one is pretty much just frustrating. And if he scores against us at the weekend, you know the fans are going to be absolutely uproar.
That's the thing. We can't even be like pissed off at Minty. He's came in, we've loaned him out. He's never kicked a ball for it, and then we've sold him. Like, he's got no loyalty to us.
Also, he
But
probably
it's
had no
just-
choice.
It sounds like he probably hasn't. Well, to be fair, we've tried to sell Miggy multiple times, and it sounds like he's had a choice. he said no to Saudi, hasn't he? So players do have a little bit of say where they go, but he's never going to say no to Brighton, especially if he's had assurances of starts or whatever.
Yeah, and he's never even really like seen what we're about. So
No.
Where else do you think Brighton could threaten us then? Apart from Mr. Welbeck smashing the goals in.
I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, Danny Welbeck, what a fucking revelation. I don't know what it is. He's just playing very well in the system they're playing. João Pedro, I think, is injured. So obviously another Newcastle target who slipped through a grasp. I think he's not going to play, and he started the season well. But like when I'm not here, he scored the other day a decent goal. Another young player. So yeah, they can be dangerous all around the park, to be honest. But generally, Minty, when I'm not here, even Rutters came in and he's starting to, I think, bed in a bit better. Came in quite late in the window, I think, from Leeds for a big price tag as well, which I think at the time Leeds fans seemed quite happy to sell for 40 million, I think it was. And then Brighton have sort of barely played him. But they've just invested money so fucking well. Like, as soon as they let a player Caicedo go, they bring in another 2 or 3 youngsters and they get minutes. With looking good in European fixtures as well. So yeah, I mean, all over the park, like, is what I'm trying to say. I think, hopefully, if we get Joe Linton, Bruno, Tonali back in the midfield, who I think controlled the game quite well against Brighton. Granted, Brighton are a step up against Everton, sorry. But Brighton are a step up. But I think that they can still control the game. If we can get those 3 in the game, I think we've got a chance. But it's weird because you don't know how we're going to set up. You don't know whether we're going to try and play with the ball or sort of seed the ball and play on the counter. Like, how do you think we will even like set up tactically? Like, generally at home we'll have a decent amount of the ball, but against the bigger sides, I'm not saying Brighton's a bigger side, but
well, I'm just thinking about the defence with Trips being out. It's likely, obviously, going to be Tino. So then I don't know if that means he puts Kelly left back or whether we just go with Hall and Tino. And then if that's the case, you'd assume we're going to try and attack and keep more possession. But yeah, it probably depends on who starts up front as well.
For us, I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say we've got to change the way we play when we've got Gordon up front, but we don't really seem to be honest. So it's like you're saying with Murphy's like whipping balls in for like someone to get their head on the back post, and Gordon's like running down the line from it. So we don't really seem to adapt.
If one of the strikers are back in, what do we do with Harvey Barnes, who's been arguably one of the best players this season?
Probably starting left and put Gordon right. That's what I think Eddie would do.
I think you kind of have to. Even though we've said multiple times Gordon's better off the left. But Barnes, he's just playing very well and scoring big goals. And he looks dangerous as well. Every time he cuts in, he looks for that far corner. Yeah. He's never far off.
Yeah. And I think just the threat of it as well. It keeps like their right back really concentrating on him, like cutting in as well. Mm-hmm. Which if you've got someone like Lewis Wall getting on the overlap, there's that danger as well. So I'd much rather see Hall play than Kelly. Not that I've got anything against Kelly, just I think he's more of a centre half. So
yeah, I think that's what we're seeing. That like as a natural left back, Hall is quite clearly the best choice. But it just depends how wants to match up.
How, yeah.
But it's not like Brighton have a really big team. Obviously, Dunk's a set piece threat. Like, does he want to bring on Lloyd Kelly to sort of help with that? Well, we'll have Byrne Shaw. I know Shaw's not great in the air. But I don't think Brighton's a team where you need to be really thinking, right, set-piece threat, corner threat, like bring an extra like body in to combat that.
Do you think we might see Croft ahead of Tino?
Well, he played 90 minutes again for Sweden, and he's playing well. That's the thing. Whether he's a centre-half or right-back, he's came in and he's played well. However, I just don't think he's as much quality on the ball as Tino. Obviously, when we're playing out, he's quite limited.
He's not been great this season, Tino, has he? He's not been at his best.
No, he's been up and down. But I think we've just got to trust, like, we've seen how good he can be. Like, Mitoma is going to be fucking trouble on that side if he starts. Like, to be fair, anyone who starts on that side is going to be trouble.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think Mitoma turned Trippier inside out last season or something like that, where Trippier just backed off, and that's not what you want to do, really. So I think Tino would probably, I think he would be the best shout. Although Kraft, if he came in, I trust him to do a job. It's just like when you balance the two players next to each other, I think most people would just rather have Tino in there.
Oh yeah, I would personally. Just trying to think what Eddie's going to do. Like sometimes he, with the defense especially, he does stuff to me that I don't really understand at the start of the game, and then quite often it turns out to be the right choice. But like the other thing is, will he keep those three in midfield that you were saying? Obviously, you're like, oh, hopefully we get that as well and control the midfield. But do you think there's any chance of Longstaff or Willock coming in?
There's always a chance, but I'd like to think not. I know, obviously, say Joe Linton come back. Actually, he's not been on international duty, has he? No. But Bruno coming back from South America. I think he played on. Yeah, he played fairly. We won a penalty fairly against Kraft. He didn't win it against Kraft, but he won it against Sweden. Yeah. I didn't see the game, but I saw that he just, controlled the ball inside the box, turned away, and felt the contact and went down. So yeah, but it's the fact that the distance to South America, that's what I'm thinking. I know Brazil, I think they won 4-0 or something on, it'll be Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, I think. So they'll have been back in the country for probably, obviously back in the day. So do you think, I know after the international break, sometimes people have been that far away, sometimes can get a bit more rest. You see the likes of Luis Diaz getting rested for Liverpool after coming back off a trip to South America. Yeah. Do you think there's a chance that Bruno?
I can't see Bruno get. No.
Nah, being
not,
the captain.
Especially not he's captain as well.
I don't think you would take being dropped, to be fair. I think you'd say, I think if he got back from South America on Saturday morning, I think you'd be demanding Eddie play him.
Oh, yeah, 100%. From his point of view. I guess we might know slightly more after the press conference, but big might on that because he doesn't often give a lot away.
I could see him just staying quite hazy on the striker front, we'll see how they train this week. They might make the game, blah, blah, blah. He's not going to tell her yes or no any striker's going to be back or
I don't mind that person.
Or whatever. Yeah, it's
as much as you want to know, you want to keep them guessing. So
yeah, but I guess Brighton are going to train for probably a few different sides. Probably going to have a plan for if Isak starts, a plan for if Wilson starts, and a plan for if neither.
Yeah, I guess it's just you've got to train differently. You've got to have those different plans. Whereas if you know for a fact it's going, you can just keep going with that one training style for the full week or however long, and then you're much better prepared, aren't you? So I know fans do get a bit frustrated with him, but it depends. Sometimes he's like, oh yeah, he's like with Wilson, he should only be out a couple of weeks, and then 2 months later, he'd be back a couple of weeks.
Joe Willock fucking last season, Harvey Barnes last season, it was fucking constant. Harvey Barnes was out. I'm sure, actually, wasn't that a toe injury that he was out for about 4 months with? Yeah,
it was. I'm sure it was. He did a real freak turn or something and just broke metatarsal or something like that, and then he was just out for ages.
If I really hope Isak isn't one of those where every week it's like, oh, like this has happened, or he's close, or he's on grass.
Yeah.
Shop find
It
out, I
doesn't seem
guess.
like he's been training at all, does it?
No,
I think they've
but
really wrapped him up, so
could be
hopefully, fingers
intentional.
crossed. Saying that though, he's not been great this season either. So
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, he's been poor actually. I think not great's been quite nice to him.
all right, well, I don't think we've really concretely come to any sort of conclusion on what we think is going to happen, but we are going to have to do a prediction. Let me get my notes up.
Yeah, didn't I nail the last one? Oh no, I didn't have nail. No, I'm lying. But we haven't done a pod in a while. I'm sure I nailed one fairly recently. What was the last one that we had on?
The last one.
Why is
Last
Steve
one
Bruce
is
trending?
Wolves, where you said 1-1, so...
Oh yeah, and yeah, well, it was 1-1 at some point, so I'll take half a point.
Right.
All right, so Steve Bruce is trending because some people are saying that they prefer Steve Bruce manager than Thomas Tuchel.
Fucking hell.
Fucking hell.
You'll be laughing that up as well.
I'm going to use the word. I'm going to use it. Fucking gammon cunts.
Do you reckon Steve Bruce sees that and thinks people are like serious?
Probably.
That, like he's on the same level.
Probably. I mean, you've got John Carver, who's assistant manager of Scotland, and he said he's one of the best Premier League managers of all time. So, dream big.
Best coach in the Premier League, isn't he?
Aye.
I'm going to say 3-1 to Newcastle.
I'll go 2-1. I think it'll be a good game. Like, to be fair, I could see it being even higher score, and I could see it being a bit of a pinball match. But I'll go with 2-1 Toon. Hanging on at the end. I'll be biting my fingernails in the corner, but going to pull through. To be fair, that'll be a massive win as well. Like, in terms of the table, I know it's early. 8 games in, it'll be. But if we can get that win over them, then 3 points ahead, they've got Europe coming.
Yeah, but we need it as well with our fixtures coming up as well. Obviously, we just mentioned Chelsea and then Arsenal. And whether we get distracted by the cup in terms of playing the best team or not.
Yeah,
I could end up making it harder going away to Forest and stuff after that. So
yeah, once the fixtures came out, I was thinking that we've got like sort of little runs of a couple of bad teams, then a run of games where we can pick up points, and then a run of bad teams again. So obviously the Chelsea Arsenal games aren't going to be easy. And then we've got, like, over Christmas, we've got Villa at home on Boxing Day, Man U away before New Year, and then Tottenham away the midweek after. Or was it might be the Saturday after? But then after that, Wolves at home, Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, Fulham at home. Like, we've got these little runs of games where I don't think we've got a long period of like, oh, fucking hell, we've got 8 games and they're all pretty rough, yeah. So I think as long as we can keep taking along, picking up points, I think we'll be up there at the end of the season. I really do.
Yeah, we've definitely got some nice patches, but I think it's one of them where if you don't pick up points for a few games, or like you go a month without really getting a win, suddenly like the feel around everything's just so much worse, even though you have got those like patches coming up.
We do seem to have a streaky team as well, don't we?
Yeah, and like with our away form being shit, obviously if we're away to Chelsea after this, and then Arsenal's obviously going to be a very tough game. Well, if we get 3 points on the board in this game, it just relieves that pressure a bit. To if we just sneak a draw away to Chelsea or end up losing to Arsenal,
definitely
people shouldn't be on us back as much. But especially if we get that cup win as well. But I guess we'll see. So the next one we should be back for is to preview Chelsea away, which I guess for that one we might as well preview both games at once.
Chelsea game and the Chelsea game.
Yeah. We can dive in a bit more after seeing what we do with Brighton to what we think we might do in terms of those two, how we juggle the squad around. Hopefully as well, we'll have more clarity on the fitness of the strikers, because that would be massive if we can juggle them two in those
If we
games.
can have them both back, that would be massive.
Yeah. But that's it for this week. Join us for that one. Remember to subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell. If you're watching via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a nice review. Don't bother leaving us a shit one. If you want to comment on the eyebrows, YouTube's the place. Social media at stjames'pod everywhere. And we'll see you in the next one. That's it.